Here we are. Welcome everybody to the community live stream here. We are at I am at Portalarium. I do have an empty chair next to me. In fact, I have a whole row of chairs just off camera for guests that are going to be coming in next, not just today, but we've got a lot of cool stuff to show you guys next Monday at the Release 44 Postmortem Mini Telethon. This live stream is our weekly community live stream on Fridays, just a warm up to what's happening next Monday. So to start off things, a few community related items, and then Star is going to pop his head in here to talk about what's been an amazing week for us. We have a couple of community events, starting with the community trailer contest, and there he is. So we have the community trailer contest still going on. We got a couple of weeks of that left. We have several community trailers already submitted. In fact, I just helped somebody submit one. They had a little bit of difficulty in the forums getting it going, but we've got their trailer linked in the submission thread. Check it out. It's very beautiful, the ones that have already been submitted. I'm excited to see what's going to be coming up as it gets closer and closer to the end of that contest. And that contest we're putting on ourselves. There's so much else happening in the community. We also have the it's a role-playing website, role-playing guild and group, RPOTA's August writing contest. They have a monthly writing contest, gives away some really cool prizes there. Cash prizes, too.
Cash?
Yeah. I mean, everybody likes
cash.
Who
doesn't love money?
I know, yeah. And Mad Hatter's LAN party in Chicago, a real-life event on October 6th. You have time.
Chicago. The city of angels.
Oh, I shouldn't do that.
The city of angels.
Yes. How many cities of angels are there? Is there any what is it? Antithesis, I think, is a word of angels. So it's
devils.
Devil. Yeah. So what's the city of devils then? Vegas?
I don't know.
I have a house in Vegas. Anyway.
Los Angeles.
There's
the city of devils.
There you go.
Everyone knows that.
So we got a lot of really cool community events kicking off. We have guilds and groups every day in the game, and we are happy to always share those on the message of the day in the game, so you can share it with everybody else who's walking around exploring, and also in the community event calendar. Don't forget to check. We always update that on a regular basis. Every time I get a notice from anybody in the community, hey, I got this event that's starting. There's also in the forums a community events forum. We segment it by release. Every month we have a new release, and every release has a section in the forums under the community events main section. I'm doing kind of a flow chart here of the forums, if you will. And so all the good stuff.
I totally see it.
Everything I'm pushing.
It's like Minority Report.
Exactly. I see it with my mind right here. Everything is in the forums, most of our updates. And when they're not in the forums, they should be, but they're also in the weekly update, which we just put out for weekly update 239. 239 updates.
Wow.
It's amazing. What is that, 4 years now, I think, of updates, basically.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of good stuff in there. In fact, you have some news related to the weekly update.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great stuff in the weekly update this week because we got a lot of stuff going on. For me, one of the most exciting, I don't know, there's so many things going on, but one of the more exciting ones for me is that the Travian Games partnership we got to announce this week. That's actually been going on for a long time, and it's been so hard not to talk about because they are just an amazing group of people to work with, including an old coworker of ours that we worked with way back in 1998, Jess Mulligan, who is the games director over there. We worked with her all the way back at Origin. She is one of the pioneers in the online space and just an amazing person to work with. And she's basically my equivalent over there at Travian. And so she and I are going to be working closely together to make, and she's also working with the Crowfall guys.
And Crowfall's here in Austin.
Yeah, and so, and that, because Travian also is the European distributor for the Crowfall game. Anyway, so Jess and I have been having a series of kickoff meetings, and the Travian team is just, they are really, really an amazing group of professionals and just great human beings. Every meeting we've had so far has been great. They really have their act together, and like this morning had a kickoff meeting with their marketing director, and Andre, and we're just talking about messaging. And one of the things we've been doing is we've kind of been trying to describe everything the game can do in a single message. It's a sandbox, it's a single player game, it's a virtual life game, it's this amazing story, 40 plus hours, ethical dilemmas, and all. We're trying to say all those things at once. It's like the old Saturday Night Live skit. It's a dessert topping and a floor wax, and really, trying to get all those messages in a single thing is confusing, and it's hard to do. And so we're going to start experimenting with more segmented marketing and messaging and communication.
Speaking of communications, I hate to interrupt you, but we have somebody here who's like, who are these guys? Sometimes we announce ourselves, sometimes we just get hints throughout the live stream.
Oh, so I'm Star Long. I'm the executive producer for Shroud the Avatar.
And my name is Matthew Anderson. I go by Barrick in the community, and I'm the senior community manager, all things events and community.
Yeah.
Dance parties included?
Right. My handle is Darkstar. Okay, so Travian, they're going to be responsible for distributing and publishing, marketing, etc., for our game in Europe and the Middle East and North Africa and South and Central America. So they're again, I can't say enough great things about them. They are great. Also, big news with our Seed Invest campaign. So we have crossed the threshold. And rocketed past it. We are already getting I don't think I can say the exact numbers, but
a lot.
We are well past the minimum, and the rate is the rate that it is increasing continues to rise, and time is running out. It's your last chance if you'd like to, as Richard says, be our boss and invest in the company. But we're very excited about that news because that's going to give us some much needed funds to do our own publishing and marketing and things like that. So that's very exciting. And on Monday, we have our new format for our telethons, which is going to be the mini telethons, the monthly ones. So tighter, more as I described in last week's live stream, that's going to be our more tighter, focused monthly telethons, shorter. So we don't get 4 hours. So we don't get
be high impact from beginning to end. It's gonna be amazing.
Also, free trial number 5 is going to start next week as well on the 9th. That's going to run all the way up until our next release. Dragon's Con schedule. They keep adding more. They love us so much. They keep adding more panels. We added times and dates to everything.
There's like 5 panels now, right?
There's 5 panels. Just in the gaming track, and then there's another one in another track where Richard's going to be on a panel about automatons because he has a huge collection of those. This doesn't even count I think he's on at least 4 or 5 panels on the space track. So it's great. We're going to be on like 10, 12 panels over at DragonCon. So DragonCon's going to be huge. Richard's also going to be at Gamescom, and he's also going to be at the Igromir Games Festival in Moscow. So we're going to be at a ton of conferences. So basically, no matter where you live, you won't be too far from a conference, and you can hang out with us.
We actually are getting quite a few questions on that Travian Games partnership. If you have any questions, a lot of the stuff you're asking right now, great questions. We literally just partner with them, so there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about. All the things that you're putting in on Discord right now about how are the servers going to work.
It's getting started. And what would be great is Monday, the telethon. The main thing we're going to be doing at the telethon is answering questions. So these are great questions to be asking for the telethon. So the biggest one, and I answered this in the forums, there's going to be one server. One server for all players worldwide. That is still the plan. If that ever changes, you will know very quickly. No change in plans to the servers. It will be one server. Not sure why people keep thinking that is changing or different. It is one server. I will say it again. One server. 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 Okay? All right. Let's see. PAX Dev, they're announcing their schedule too, so we have a time and a date for that. And we're hiring. we have a new job opening for a sound designer. So we're looking for someone with a bunch of experience, at least 5 years, and a ship title. Someone to help us really polish and fill in the gaps of the sound that we need, and hopefully do some voiceover as well. And weekend flash sale, all the content that is expiring on Monday. That includes the Elven gear, the silver clockwork armor, the old hot tub. This was the very first piece of decoration that we put in the store. So this is one of the oldest items in the store is going away. And Dallas is very sad about this because the hot tub was Dallas's idea. So.
It still works great.
And that is the name actually of this conference room that we're airing this from. It's called the hot tub. So this is a big deal that this is going away. And the vintage velvet furniture, the blue and the red, that's going away as well because we have a bunch of other furniture. So those are just some, and there's a few other items. You can see all those listed both in the update and on the telethon. And that's just all the sort of news items that are in the update. And one thing that we want to do real quick before we hand it over to Scottie, because I know that's what everyone's really here because everyone loves Scottie. But I just want to give you guys a quick preview of what's going to be in Release 45 and just some updates on the game progress. So Etceter has gotten a makeover. That's what Scottie's going to show you right here. There's going to be even more Norgard / Viking clothes in the release, both for the NPCs and as player wearables. And some are going to be in the store, but also some of those are going to be craftable. We are going to have some more new scenes in the South Palatus region, and one also in right outside of Resolute and Airy. And there's going to be more side quests to sort of fill out the Truth and Courage area. We're spending a lot of effort on localization to support Black Sun, our Russian partner, and also Travian, who's our European partner. That includes a new font. So there's going to be a new game font that's going to be mainly to help better support for foreign characters. We also, for players who like to play with a locked combat bar, there's now going to be, you can now press and hold on a locked glyph to power it up. This is basically the equivalent of stacking for dynamic glyphs. We're also developed a new decoration flag that's specifically for walls and fences, so that you can do things like hang lights on walls and fences or other decorations on walls and fences. We're also working on a new tree creature. The tree creature, or as we've been jokingly calling him internally, the treaker.
If you got a better name for us, let us know.
We're not going to call it a treaker. But anyway, that he probably won't go live in 45, but we'll have him built in 45, and then we'll work on behaviors and animations and things in 46, where it'll go live in 46. A bunch of new gear, including gambesons and doublets. Some new those mostly will be in game actually, and also some new swords, mostly in game patterns, not actually add-on store things. A montant, some rapiers, a messer, and a Japanese shikomizui. Also a smaller pirate galleon, town-sized pirate galleon home. Also continue to do more polish on our combat animations. You saw in the last release we did mainly focus on getting running and moving while fighting. So that's going to continue. We just did a bunch of, Matt just finished pole arms and one-handed bludgeons, and then he just did auto attack the other day. And we just fixed a bug with combat where you were able to dodge damage over time damage, which is weird. Like, how could you dodge like being poisoned or on fire? So we just fixed that bug. And more book patterns, so you'll be able to apply more patterns to your books. And we actually put a bunch more book merchants in the game, mainly actually in smaller towns versus bigger towns, so a reason to go to some of the smaller towns.
How does the book patterns work?
You can take the book pattern and apply it on a book to give a different book cover.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So custom book covers. All right, that's just
one.
a quick sort of preview of a bunch of the stuff we're working on in 45. All right, and on that note, I will hand it over to Scottie, who will talk about Etceter, the city of angels.
The city of wheels.
Thank you, Star. All right, so Scottie, how has it been?
It's been pretty well, going nicely actually.
Excellent, good. Yeah, I see your desk. Scottie has the desk right at the end of the hallway here, so I'll do like a charge quite frequently, running down, ready to like leap, going, "What are you doing?" and scaring the bejesus out of him. And no, I don't do that. But I do make a weird face once in a while just for fun, just to spin it up. I mean, you have to. You know?
Well, besides, everyone gets to look at my hideous profile, so they might as well.
Dark back there. So I think Unity is still updating or doing something here. So while that's going on,
should have finished, but I'm going to at least the Perforce update.
Okay.
Let's make sure.
Okay, so quick recap. This is our community live stream. My name is Matthew Anderson. I go by Barrick in the community. I'm the community manager here at Portalarium and all things Shroud of the Avatar. And I have here with me Scott Jones, otherwise known as Scottie, and he just put together a nice, lovely, for the weekly update, article on what we're going to be seeing here today.
That's right. For those of you who have the chance to go in and read the Dev Plus stuff or read the weekly update, I believe that we had done not too long ago, you had seen the first part and then possibly most recently the second part. Did you already
we did. Yeah, we just literally put out the weekly update. Like, I was rushing to get this live stream ready, and I went, oh, that weekly update has to go out. The community wants to see it, and it's always nice to get it out to the community, email included. Check your email if you're well, it's on the front page of the website anyway.
That's true.
But anybody who's subscribed to our newsletters, we have a newsletter that follows shortly the web version, and that has your update announcement. It has all the stuff that you were listening in, all the stuff that Star was talking about just a minute ago.
That's true.
On all the news that we've been talking about.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I have to put this in here before you go on, Scottie. They always love this stuff, giving away things. In fact, I think this is the only reason they watch. I mean, you guys certainly don't watch because of me, I'm sure. I know you're a fan of Scottie and these wonderful prizes. So what we're going to do today, in fact, I think we'll roll with this right away just to get one started.
Sure.
Give some away throughout the live stream after that. We have the ornate Viking short or bastard sword. So there's a Viking short sword and a Viking bastard sword. Ornate version, not just the ordinary, ornate, fancier.
Mm-hmm.
And all these items that we're giving away today are in the store. Star was talking about that with our flash sales over the weekend. So you can go to shroudoftheavatar.com, go all the way to the right of the main menu, and that's our store. It also has bundles and a little bit about what we offer in the game. That's not just craftable items, which is a whole lot more in the game. Like just playing the game, you can make a lot of the things that more basic versions of what's in the store. The store is just a tiny, tiny portion of all the items we have in the game. I always have to mention that because we don't really do a good job of putting all the items available on the website. There really isn't a lot of room for that. sodawiki.net, I think it is. Go there, and there's a huge community of Shroud of the Avatar's main community that's contributing to articles that do go into detail of all these other items. But in any case, the items today on the store that we're giving away is a choice. We're going to give you a choice of either the Viking short sword or the bastard sword. Also, Elven Elite Mage, Fighter, or Archer armor. These are some new stuff, but also, so they're right on the front page. You don't have to go into the categories to search for what the hell is he talking about. They're right on the front page.
No doubt Fletcher's amazing handiwork.
Yes, he does really. We're going to have to get him on one of these live streams at some point, too. These guys don't see him enough. It's like once every few months.
Oh, absolutely. They need to see him more and see how incredible his work is.
So there's going to be a choice for that. You'll either have the choice of the Mage, Fighter, or Archer, and we're going to give 2 of those away. Then we also have the Ornate Kobold Backpack, bringing back a favorite, Ornate Kobold Backpack. We've given away several times on the telethons, on these weekly live streams. They have been quite popular in general, so we want to give away a few of those too for funsies. There'll be 2 of those. And to top off our prizes for today, the Glowing Mushroom Pack, not just a 3-pack. It's a little confusing. There are several different types of glowing mushrooms. You can, once you go to the store and see them, it'll make a lot more sense than me trying to figure it out. But to try to describe it anyway, we have 3 different overall color types of mushrooms, glowing mushrooms, blue, green, and orange. And each color comes into 2 different types as well. The potted and the not potted. Now the not potted doesn't have the label not potted. It's just whatever.
It's just mushroom or whatever it is. Yeah.
The potted has the name. We were going to put unpotted, but then we were like, well, the community can figure that out, and that's just another word we don't need. So there are overall 6 broad 3-pack types. The 3 colors for the potted, 3 colors for the not potted. Not potted go in the house. The potted can go wherever the heck you want them. Inside, outside. They look great everywhere, especially at night. It's very cool. Add a few of them up, mix and match them in your house. It's very neat. So we're going to give away the pack of those, which is everything all together. You have 1 pack of every single type. But that prize, we're going to save that to the end because that prize is going to be given away on Twitter. So throughout this live stream, as we're giving away prizes, if you hashtag LBSOTA, Lord British, Shroud of the Avatar, or at Shroud of Avatar on Twitter, our Twitter account is Shroud of Avatar, not Shroud of the Avatar, because we have a name that's 1-2 characters too many.
Oh,
so we were only able to So we were only able to do Shroud of Avatar. It works. If you at Shroud of the Avatar or hashtag LBSOTA, or do a mix and match of that, and mention this live stream, mention the prizes, anything that would reference, hey, they watched the live stream, then we will give away that mushroom pack to a random lucky winner that does that. Anytime throughout this next hour. Now, we have some music, wonderful music playing. I don't know if it's blasting your ears out. Please let us know if it is. I am going to start pressing buttons. Here we go. Okay, we're going to switch over to the game. We got the game in front of us right now. You can't see it, but we're going to switch over this real quick. Just jiggle the master volume. Jiggle it.
Not wasn't jiggling happening.
Yay! Yay!
Well, it took a moment for it to react a minute ago.
Okay.
I don't know why
It's pretty low? Okay, so you guys can hear us a little bit more than the game. As long as you can hear us and you have some nice lovely music from the game in the background, that'll even add to your also lovely, by the way, voice. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, so they're like, where the hell are the prizes? You told us what they were and you're not giving them away. Which ones should we do? Not the mushroom pack, that's for the tweeters.
Well, I would say the ornate Viking short or bastard sword.
Good choice. Okay, so anybody who would like a chance to win the ornate Viking or the ornate Viking short sword or the bastard sword, it's your choice on which one of those. Type exclamation, this is Discord or Twitch chat. If you're watching this, you're obviously on Twitch right now. And if you're in Discord, that's fine too. Exclamation sword. So type exclamation sword, we'll give that a minute, and then we're going to switch over to what Scottie and I are seeing. So Scottie can give you a lovely tour. I want to know what the purple flame stuff is. That's really cool. Let's show these guys. Okay, so
how do I do that?
I am going to just get Unity on this thingamabobber. We use XSplit. It's a very good program and works pretty well. We've been thinking about going to OBS for a while. Some of our community members who have watched the live stream know that I've mentioned this on occasion. I'm not scared of OBS. I think it's amazing. We just need the right time to switch, which is never the right time, but that's okay.
Much of this is voodoo to me anyway. I trust you implicitly with this.
I don't know what I'm doing. I just press and I tend to get lucky.
Well, I'm a Luddite, so luck usually is the only thing I depend on when it comes to making this stuff work.
Alright, there we go. We're going to cover ourselves up for a minute. I think they've had enough of our faces. There we go.
Oh.
Just a little tweak on the height, and then what we do is... Oh gosh, we're back. Don't worry guys. Do not worry. We will get out of the way shortly. There we go. There we go. There is automation for this sort of thing, but it takes another person, and we don't have that right now. Alright, how's that for you guys? Okay, so you can see us in the corner. So when we're like waving our hands going, oh my god, this is so amazing.
You can enjoy our little
or screaming for help, then you'll see us. But most importantly, they see the game, so you can pop over to Unity, click on that, drive away and see.
There we go.
Tell us what we're seeing.
Well, first and foremost, you asked about the purple thing. What you're seeing right there actually is it's one of the dread artifacts. I'm not sure why it's on this particular avatar's head. I didn't outfit this fellow.
It looks good.
But yeah, it's the dread crown, the one that normally Boreas.
Oh, Liquid Blaze 1 on Twitch says it's a blood crown.
Yes, that's right. The crown of Boreas.
And Mercy Jersey. Why is the hair on fire? Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, what you're seeing is it's all the dread artifacts have a host of effects. In fact, if you look closely, I'll put it up against the sky so you can see. You can see there's like inky, shadowy, writhing tendrils that seem to come from it as well, and it gives off a variety of like smoke-like and haze-like effects. Essentially, it's the corrupt power of these dread artifacts. I mean, the word dread is there for a reason. They're beautiful artifacts, but unfortunately, the corruption that is set in them, the power invested with them over time, lends them to be some of the most dangerous things in the world. And of course, the culmination of several quests leads to these things eventually.
Mercy Jersey also asks, does the color change with virtue?
No, because these themselves aren't necessarily the power that's corrupting them isn't necessarily virtuous. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that once you achieve these artifacts and they become either purified or in some way more usable later to the character, or at least less dangerous, that there may not be a shift in their effects. But for now, this is what they are, at least while they're considered quote-unquote dread. So let's see though, because I kind of want to make that go away because it's distracted me deeply. Let's see if I can do so. Can I?
You remove the crown there.
Yeah, let me put it in my
Unequip it.
Put it in my backpack because it for the time being it simply gets in the way. There we go.
And those sort of things, they dent your forehead anyway. It's like my helmet. I ride bike to work, and I put my helmet on. It takes like a half an hour for the dents to go away. Anyway, that's another story.
Well, so here, let me give you an idea. By the way, the reason why, when you asked me to choose some of the prizes, I chose the Viking Sword or Bastard Sword first. And the reason why is because inspired essentially by the fact that in the town of Etceter, we are in a place which has a lot of history behind it, even long before the events that took place in the Sword of Midras book. Etceter was a place that started off as a simple mining town long ago when the first settlers in this area discovered that there was gold and other precious items buried in the nearby mountains that are beyond this place. The Etceter Crag Mines is what they begin to be called. And the reason why this is sort of important is because Etceter itself sort of grew from this as a seed. Because for a while, the mine itself was the main reason why it gained its riches, and from a small mining town it became a settlement of fairly significant size, a town back in the days that was fed not just by the precious ore and such found in the Etceter Crag Mines, but also by trade that then began to, of course, flood this port of call once the other areas, and we're talking in the ancient past, 500, 600 years ago, begin to flood this area as a result, and so trade became very prominent and powerful. And it was at that point in time, long ago, that the cultures that were here actually got some of their first contact with Xenos, and so began to trade with those shores to the west. But also from here came the original group of people that, when the cataclysm struck, there was an exodus, much like there was in Xenos. And the exodus of people that traveled from there went northward to seek some, basically to get away from the flooding and other such things that occurred across the Bay of Storms. But as part of this process, they brought with them some of their culture, which at the time, one could say was sort of a very, very early brand of Nordic culture.
And are you describing much of the scene? Because maybe we can do a little walkthrough to describe it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, but before I get into more of the history, I'll just simply say that eventually they went to the north, founded part of the culture that would then later become Norgard, mixed, of course, with the culture with Xenos at the time, that because there were northern barbarians there already. But they brought some of that culture back when the seafarers went across the sea and then came to this place and then built it up into what it became back then. The Obsidians then later took over and brought it to its knees. And ever since then, it's become sort of a ramshackle version of the glorious port of call that it had become.
Very smart for them to put a nuclear fallout shelter right there.
Well, I wanted to point this out, actually. A lot of the stuff in this whole area has been redone. And not necessarily washed away of what it had been before, because you can see the similarities are incredible. But a lot of repainting of the terrain, a lot of resculpting of areas, a lot of addition of objects that kind of show what its old style was before it fell into the reign of the Obsidians when they came and destroyed all of its nobility. But what you're seeing here is actually the player-owned town entrance to Bladewick, which you can also access from outside of the town of Etceter. But because of the fact that one gets to be placed in here as well, you can go inside very easily. And I wanted to kind of celebrate the fact that it was this entrance by placing over it sort of the end of the wall that represents the different walled streets that go throughout Etceter. The end of this wall supports a lovely little lantern that kind of shows off the entrance to Bladewick. And of course this whole area here, which is where the caravans come in and such, and sometimes park. Of course, we know these are the handy teleporters that go to other areas of the map. But one of the things that you'll see here, and I'll kind of pull myself out from here a little bit, is you'll start to see how a theme that I've developed for this ends up allowing people to see, oh look, there's several ways to get into the town. One way goes up near housing, which before had no roads leading to it whatsoever. Now, of course, the houses that you're seeing here are just placeholder houses that would kind of normally fit with upon this, but of course there's a wide variety that players choose from, so these do not necessarily represent what's really there. We're not in live right now, and it hasn't been uploaded and isn't ready to be wandered in yet.
Yeah, we have a few community members that are asking, you know, when can I play this? Release 45, I believe.
Yeah, I believe the next release, this will come live.
Yeah, so we're in Unity right now, and Unity is our main engine for editing, adding scenes, everything basically that you're seeing right now that Scottie is talking about. And so the performance is going to be just ever so slightly lower than what you'll experience in live, because we have a whole bunch of stuff going on in the game here. Well, this is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully some of you all that actually own properties on this area will recognize, oh wait, that's where my area is, and that's where I've decorated. And so you'll see how, you know, this new sort of paradigm of decorative elements for this town will interact with those areas that you all live in now. I also repainted the roads and such to make them clearer. They were kind of spotty looking before. I mean, the goal of this was to make sure that it looked like a town that has been lived in for a very long time. There used to be rocks strewn all throughout the road, but now they've kind of, I've placed them closer toward the edge. They either got, you know, borne down into the road itself or moved to the side by those who didn't want their wagon wheels or horses to be damaged. So once you start to walk into this town, though, you will start to see elements of the walls, which are all crumbling now. In their heyday, they were all, you know, nice and wonderful and huge. And some of them, where I've done them low here, you'll notice the reason why they just look like sort of a foundation is first to trim and line the road. Second, to show where these walls were once built up, but may have gotten knocked down. The stones were used for other things, but really, I made a very careful choice to go back, and this is at the behest of Hutch, who wanted to make sure that I didn't build anything that would get in the already existing player's way, because a lot of people love to run it off and off their lot in different areas, and they
Hutch being
the art director.
Art director.
Yeah, Hutch is the art director for the entire project, and one of the things he wants to make sure of is that the existing players aren't put off by what I try to build here too, and it's important. I mean, I like to add a lot of beauty to the stuff, but at the same point in time, I don't want to take away from the functionality and access, and even the little entrances that players have already set up for their lot. So I actually went back and forth into the live, into GM Live build, to take account of all these things to make sure that I didn't you know, put anything down that would offend existing players.
Oh, that's smart. So we've got two winners that just came in here. Guys, we're giving away prizes throughout this live stream, and we actually, I had mentioned at the beginning of talking about prizes, we were going to give away one of a choice of either the ornate Viking short sword or the bastard sword. Well, guess what? Because we gave away, or we're going to give away 2 of the backpacks later and 2 of the armor sets, why not? Let's give away 2 of these. I was add a little extra in there just for funsies.
Oh, that's excellent.
Did not get permission from anybody else on the team. I just do that. You know, it's all for the community. So for you guys, we're giving away 2 this time. One goes to, congrats to Ari LOD, ARI LOD, and Browncoat Jason. Browncoat
Jason.
Yeah, we know him. So congrats to both of you for winning a choice of your sword, ornate Viking short sword or ornate bastard sword. Please message me, Barrick, if you're on Discord, which one you want and your account name. And if you're on Twitch, message Shroud of the Avatar. We're watching our own live stream there right now. Message that for the same, which one you want and what your account name is. We'd like to award those to you hopefully within the next few days. We don't always get to it on the weekends. It's Friday, a little late. Sorry if we don't get to it today, but next week for sure.
Excellent.
And actually, you know what? Because I don't want to interrupt you, Scottie, too much here. Why don't we just pick another one right away and let them roll for it? So either we got the armor or the backpacks.
So the armor or the backpacks, you say?
Yeah.
God, that's a very good question. I'll tell you what. Let's go with the ornate kobold backpacks. I really like what's been done with the kobold stuff recently, and it's nice to see them being turned away from being little savages and into a wonderful sort of culture of their own.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as always, you guys are ahead of me. Thank you. We have Mercy Jersey who kicked it off. Exclamation pack. We got others who say backpack. So we're going to do a double spin here. If you type exclamation backpack or exclamation pack, either one will work just fine on your chance to win 1 of 2 ornate gold backpacks.
Excellent. So I've turned left at the crossroads here, which is the kind of the main area along the main road that leads down into the center of town. And turning left and passing a few players' houses, I'm now going into an area that has been built up in a way that it simply was not before. And this was sort of a point of contention. A lot of people really wanted to see this area built up because of all the areas that are described in the sort of Midras. This area was once the most active back in the days long ago during the war against the Obsidians, because this town, and what sets Etceter apart from a lot of other areas, is that it's the place where the Council of Might was held. Long ago, a lot of the many leaders of the different countries came together here in Etceter, came into this place called the Baroness's Keep, and had a council wherein they spoke to Aaron Bennis, who had been captured. He was a general of the Obsidians, or I should say one of the chief soldiers of the Obsidian army, and was brought here and spoken to by the council. He had the sword of Midras in his hand at the time. None else could really touch it without feeling its very powerful effects. Now, he was placed here inside of this, which didn't even exist before, but this whole little compound is the stockade that used to serve the Baroness's Keep, which is just a little up the hill and to the left. And then to the right, there are a few cottages where people who are no doubt servants of the keep, or those who served those that were important to the Baroness herself, which includes Amanda, who went to live in this cottage, who was the sister of Sienna, who was one of the favored among the Baroness's staff. And so, if you walk into any of these places, you will see that it has fallen into ruin and decay. The fortress, or I should say the Baroness's Keep itself, inside is collapsed, and it truly has fallen into ruin. What happened was, of course, after the Obsidians began to conquer other areas outside, and before they had been defeated, they heard of the Council of Might, where it had been held, who had hosted it, and they eventually came and they destroyed most of they slaughtered the ruling family here, apparently.
That's not very nice.
And then destroyed the Baroness's Keep, or at least cast it into ruin. But you can still see here to this day the place where Aaron Bennis was made to stand among the council, who sat in these 6 chairs plus the 7th that was there and reserved for the Baroness herself. And here he was questioned. Walking around this thing, by the way, has its own little perils. There are parts that are still caving in, so be careful. If you once this thing goes live, you'll wander around. You don't want to turn an ankle or so. Now, going past this area and up inside is one of the areas that a lot of people really wanted to see, and before it had not existed. I wanted to make sure that the place looked like, after the Obsidians had taken it over, and then they had their workforce, which were the satyrs at the time, along with the fawns, kind of build a stockade around here, a wooden, not stockade, a barricade, I should say. It surrounds the town now, defines its edges, of course, but beyond it you can see where there were more, cottages and such that were lived in by the villagers. Those have long since fallen into rot. But Amanda's cottage still stands enough to be able to walk inside of it and see. Long ago, according to the book, when she still lived here and waited for her sister Sienna to return, she would sit and gaze out these windows and wait, looking down the long road leading into the town itself, waiting for the moment that she hoped would come, where her sister would arrive and walk up this long road to see her. Amanda at the time wanted to be able to rise up and speak to her and actually answer the door standing on her own 2 feet, because of course the Obsidians had caused her to become lame. She was one of the first people, at least early on, who had been shaped by the Reshapers unsuccessfully to turn her into an elf. So she had escaped or been released in some way as a failure. She'd returned to Etceter and had lived in this cottage since that time. Walking further down from here, and going into the stockade for a moment, you can kind of see that as well. Again, this is where Aaron Venice was put into a cell to await the pleasure of the Baroness. And so you can walk up inside of here, go look inside and see what it contains. Again, it's all rubble and ruins. You can walk up and see what's left of it. Not much at this point. Ooh, let's see if we can walk out of here.
Yeah, just your own words. You have to be careful where you step.
Oh yeah,
look,
I'm starting to...
Looks like you broke an ankle.
Yeah, it looks like I'm stuck here. Like I'm one leg is actually out of here right now. Yeah. So here, I'll
cast some magic and
I'll deal with that later.
Thyself at fast speed, super fast speed. There you go.
There we go.
It's haunted. That's the problem. When you guys get into the game, just be careful. Don't worry about twisting an ankle so much as being possessed.
And of course, possessed by the inability to move around. So here, let's go ahead in here a little bit further. I'm going to set the time back. Well, actually, no, I'm going to keep it the way it is, because I kind of like the light that you see coming in here. But the roads going in and out of town all around now have been sort of added to with these kind of old crumbling walls that were once sort of a hallmark of the look of the place. But then walking into downtown, you can see where these same walls still exist to some extent, have crumbled and fallen in, but now provide some really nice little decorative elements that sort of set off the front of a lot of these domiciles without actually taking away from area where you can still place wonderful decorations and such. But they do define the road nicely now. In the game, I believe, live game, I think this is owned by the BMC. And this is, as opposed to a cottage being in here, it's all decked out with some really wonderful array of things you can buy and check out.
We have community members in chat right now. We're commenting on the scene as you're moving along here. One says, "I'm disappointed there are no piles of garbage and empty broken liquor bottles along." Well, they clean themselves up apparently from that. And somebody else says, "2 Hershey bars, no idea what that's about."
A gift to me, hopefully.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot of good comments on what you're walking through here.
But you can see, so I've also changed the location of this and kind of set it a little more carefully into the ground and made its base look a little bit more sort of real. And that is the crafting pavilion. But you can see again more the motif of the kind of older crumbling structures upon which the newer structures were built. A lot of this place had to be rebuilt after the depredations of the Obsidians, one can assume, which again, 200 years ago they were or at least 150 years ago or so, they were defeated, and then this place was able to grow up again. But the satyrs and the fawns essentially, left the Obsidians. They didn't want to be a part of them anymore. They wanted to be their own race, their own creatures. Remember, these were humans once, long ago. But of course, over the centuries, they've become races into and of themselves, and they make Exeter their home now. But walking down into this area, you can see one of the other big changes. I wanted to make sure that the wharfs and the waterfront of the different buildings now took on a very different feel, a feel of more permanency, where you would have imagined that the townsfolk would have built stone stone support structures, the foundations of the buildings themselves, to also help them from being eroded away by high tides or storms. Now, some of the shanty-like structures are still down here near the docks, the wooden structures that they can rebuild if necessary. And there's more rock and stone and moss-covered areas near the edges, where you can see the little retaining walls and such. But what you're seeing here is more dock front space, where more of a vigorous trade would be going on. And looking around here too, you can see elements that now indicate that it does have a link to Xenos. So you'll see that there are architectural elements now that they decided to build, to show a link to that place. Rug merchants and textiles and things like that are from foreign shores. Statuary from Xenos that now adorn some of the buildings, and the amphorae and wonderful pottery and such from Xenos.
We have a screenshot on the weekly update of the angle looking out. I don't know which direction it is there. And there's several others, so you guys can get what some of the stuff that Scottie's showing you, a little sneak peek on the weekly update as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main goal in this was to make this place look a little bit more lived in and a little bit more developed. I mean, it suffered from the fact that this is one of the earlier places that we had made quite some time ago, and the goal had always been to make it more like the book. It just hadn't met that the first time around, and it really needed a little bit of extra love to make it feel both real, immersive, lived in, and referential to the fiction of the book as well as the entire world.
This area is beautiful. I've had a little bit of a chance to check out some of this in the process of the team developing it, and then you polishing all this and building it out. And it's just amazing here. So if you guys have any questions for Scottie, I'm monitoring chat right now on Discord and Twitch. And if you have anything at all that you wanted to point out, or thumbs up, or thumbs down, I suppose, whatever, let us know. I mean, hey, the option is there. Let us know. We will answer your questions. Meanwhile, I want to give those prizes away.
Oh yeah,
we have 2 more winners.
I'll keep you wandering around and letting them look at stuff while you do so.
Perfect. So we have 2 backpacks. Again, ornate, beautiful kobold backpacks. A little bit of a theme here on the kobolds today, and those 2 go to Congrats Viola Vidison and Skeggy, I think 1999. That was a good year.
Skeg 1999?
Yes.
Okay.
So you 2 get a backpack to put all your goodies in as you're adventuring around New Britannia here for Shroud of the Avatar. We have 1 more item set to give away on the stream, and then we have that glowing mushroom pack. Very cool glowing mushrooms we now have in the game since release 44 went live. Those will be given away to anybody on Twitter that types hashtag LBSOTA, Lord British Shroud of the Avatar, or at Shroud of Avatar, and makes a mention of the live stream, what you've been playing in the game recently, anything at all that will really give us within this 1 hour period of us live streaming, a chance to identify you, and then we'll put you guys in a pool for a chance to win that glowing mushroom pack. Meanwhile, we have the Elven Elite Mage Fighter or Archer Armor set, your choice. We're going to give away 2 of those. So if you're on Discord or Twitch, if you don't know, by the way, how to get on Discord, and what I'm talking about there, it's our main community chat channel. Everybody talks to each other in there 24/7. It's not just for the live streams here like right now. You can find the Discord link in the forums, or if there's an awesome community member on Twitch that could actually link that to everybody else on Twitch, I would appreciate that. Thank you in advance. You guys rock. Alright, for the armor, exclamation armor. Just keep it nice and simple, exclamation armor. Get a chance to win that, Discord or Twitch, and we'll give that a few minutes.
The last thing I'll kind of show you guys as I kind of walk through here real quickly is the beachfront property area, which right now, I mean, these are just placeholder houses that pop up for us so that we can kind of get a gauge what it looks like. I know for a fact that the ones that are there in the actual live build are not these 2 ships. There are these like manor houses that are on little bits of land that are sticking out from the beach here. But nonetheless, what I've done is I've tried to add a little bit more detail, polish the area where there's rocks jutting up, make it look like it kind of naturally joins with it. a lot of things were just sort of stuck into the ground earlier. It was really swiftly done the first time around, so this is a little bit more of a lengthy leveling pass.
This is really neat. If I had a choice, I would, in this scene or somewhere else, have a ship as a house. I think that idea is cool.
I know, I like that as well. But a lot of people like their tall fortresses and such. But and in fact, I think right here in this middle one, looking up from here would not see this cottage. You'd be seeing one of the obsidian tower homes. But the main thing is I've added this sort of retaining wall here that kind of brings up the level of land where the houses are to higher than the actual level of the beachfront area, which is nice. One can imagine it was built to kind of keep the high tides or the swells from storms from harming one's property or eating away at the ground where the foundation of your house is. So now those people who are wandering around here in town see this as a much more developed area that really makes you feel like you have sort of a more personalized entrance onto your own property instead of just a little trail in the mud. These are much more developed, have obviously planted or growing grasses there as opposed to the sandy beach. So there's some good contrast there between the kind of landscape elements.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's pretty much it. The rest of it here, and of course you can always see from a distance, you can see the wonderful ruins of the Baroness's Keep. It was once the tallest and grandest building in the entire city, or town I should say, and now, though it's in ruins, it's grand still. Now there's one other element I wanted to point out, and standing upon these docks really lets you see it. You can see it start to peek out here from behind those ships. Long ago, there were no islands out there. There was nothing out there. But of course, at the time, we hadn't had a chance to really massage the terrain and make it match the map, the world map. But it's mentioned in the book as well, because that's something that Amanda can see from her cottage. And on a good day, when the weather is fairly clear, then you can actually see Siren Island in the far north, kind of cropping up over the edge of the horizon. Which, if you could actually see on the other side of those mountains, there would be a volcano there, because you can kind of see that on the world map as well, but too far away and too hard to see from here. And then to the left, right there through those two ships, you can see there's actually a very thin area where one could supposedly pilot a ship, and that's the route that you take along the northwestern coasts of this part of the world, that would take you around and out over the Bay of Storms and eventually to Xenos. And of course, part of that route was the trade route that ships would come through when they were picking up or dealing in the goods that were once part of the thriving Etceter Crag Mines. But if you recall, the Etceter Crag Mines, at some point in time during the reign of the Obsidians, when they took this area over and killed its nobility, and shattered most of their houses and such, and burned many down.
Well, speaking of all of these cities and towns, there's a question from Starlord: will other cities, towns under construction also get a rework? Well, yes, definitely. I mean, they
Absolutely.
are under construction. We like to finish those, and we're just going one at a time and picking those that follow the storyline, like you said, with Etceter here. I always say etc. Etceter, everybody.
It's based on that.
Extra and more.
But yeah, the Etceter Crag Mines, though, that gave this town its huge wealth, closed down back then during the Obsidian Reign, and it did it because the miners dug down too deep and found some horrifying powers there that eventually caused the whole place to become abandoned and haunted. Those of you who have played the Etceter Crag Mines will have already found that. So
yeah, you gotta be careful about that.
So anyway, though, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Are we done? Are we at the edge of our time?
We could probably talk on for hours, I am sure. I thank you, Scottie, for being on the live stream here and showing off Etceter coming to the game in release 45, specifically the uncloned version that you see before you now. There is the clone version in the game.
That's right.
The much older view of it.
Yes.
That they can check out right now if they kind of want to get a preview of the before, and then
it's always interesting to see that. I mean, if anyone has proven that, the Mad Hatter proved that when he actually very, very diligently went and took images of what it looked like before, and he very carefully took the locations of those images of places he thought were kind of weak before in Xenos, visually weak. And then he waited, and then once it got live, then he took those same points.
He did do that.
Yeah, and it was actually informative, because I don't think about those things. As I try to do this stuff, I don't think about what it looked like. I always think about sort of the goal of what I want it to look like. the bits of history that I want it to purvey, to make sure it has all the right visual cues for what I think a fully fleshed out town should have. But I always forget to look back and think, I wonder what it looked like before. And it's kind of a wake up call to go back into those old places and see what they look like now.
Yeah, the community, you guys are amazing. Well, I say amazing on everything that you guys do, supporting each other. With I'm pimp the Hospitaller group. Hospitallers are basically everybody who has the Hospitaller tag on in the game that signals new players and others that they're there, the Hospitallers are there to help each other out. And one of those things that they do to help each other out, I mentioned Soda Map as well, sodamap.com, but Soda Wiki as well, that the community gathers around and contributes to on a regular basis information about the game, historical references like you're talking about here, Scottie, and all of those kind of before and after comparisons of what we've been developing here in Shroud of the Avatar over the last now 4 years, leading up to getting closer and closer and closer to the launch here in Story Complete, which we just announced, and fine-tuning that from this point forward and doing more. And so there's so much that the community rallies around with, especially when we talk about these things. This is another thing I love about when we're on the live stream with developers. When I have other people here, instead of just me babbling on by myself, I have you guys who are fashioning the game, listening to the player base and considering tweaks, and like you mentioned Mad Hatter, and looking at their perspective a little bit and going, oh, maybe we should do this and maybe we should do that, and I can fit this into the storyline. And there's all those kind of comments and feedback that we get from you guys, try to digest as much as we possibly can, and then whatever really makes sense, we'll go, and if we have time, develop it and put it in the game. So a little bit of you guys is here in what you're seeing today with Scottie.
Absolutely. I take feedback from players very seriously, and of course part of the impetus to do this and make sure this got polished is because of the really excellent feedback we got from quite a number of individuals pertaining to how much they really wanted to see those elements referred to in the book, at least in ruins, so that they could explore and sort of harken back to their experience when reading the book. And then in addition, to really make this place feel cool, lived in, and complete for those who have decided to make their home in Etceter.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, this scene right here, there's so many housing spots. I don't know exactly how many housing spots are available, but there looks like there's several. So you guys, once you move in, as we do on a regular basis, we also have community spotlights. We'll spotlight towns, not just player-owned towns. Yes, there are player-owned towns for you new folk who are just joining us and thinking about getting Shroud of the Avatar. There are entire towns that are led and developed by guilds and groups, and just individuals who say to others, welcome, come in, build a house on one of the lots that I have available. And then there are towns like this that are the ones that we're working on that also have housing. And so there's really a major mix of where the players congregate and meet each other and adventure into the world to learn more about it. And each other, for that matter.
That's right.
I mean, half the game, it's about you guys, the community. So again, thank you, Scottie. Let's give away that last prize while you're with me here.
Excellent.
We have the two armor sets. So this, again, you get a choice: the Elven Elite Mage, Fighter, or Archer armor sets. Let me know which one you want and your account name. You can message Barrick on Discord or Shroud of the Avatar on Twitch, depending on where you are watching and listening and typing on this live stream. These two armor sets go to, I think it's Goulian Tinpenny. I like that, Tinpenny. Goulian Tinpenny. I might have that first part a little bit wrong. Apologies in advance. And J. Turcotte. There might be an A in there. I'm not really sure.
Turcotte.
J-T-U-R-C-O-T-T-E. Sure. Cotte.
J. Turcotte.
Anyway. So there it is. You guys know who you are. Congrats on winning one of those armor sets. Very exciting. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here to the Shroud of the Avatar community live stream. We have most of these on Fridays at 4 o'clock Central Time, or New Britannia time for those New Britannians who are in the game. It's the same thing as Central Time, but it's the time around the world. And just a little update again on next week. We have the mini telethon next week, so we will not have a community live stream on Friday. We actually have a guild from the game who is coming to visit us here in Austin next weekend. It's going to be very exciting.
That's very cool.
We're going to be talking with them, showing them around Austin a little bit, talking about the game, answering their questions up front in person. It's going to be very much a lot of fun. And so we won't be live streaming then, but please join us 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock Central Time for the Release 44 Postmortem Mini Telethon this coming Monday. We'll see how this goes, and if you guys like the format, if you like the 4-hour format, 3 to 7, apologies for those who can't quite attend those 4 hours. So just as an FYI, we're going to give away prizes and all that stuff on it, just like we do here, but we're also expiring some things. And as with telethons before, we also have several items that are stretch goals to help us to move the project forward. We've been so appreciative of everybody on the things like Seed Invest and others, ways to keep us going here.
Yes.
So that we can get this game launched and beyond for you guys. And that's part of what the telethons are about. But it's also fun to show you guys more stuff in the game, which we're going to do on the telethon as well. And also, most importantly, answer your questions. So if you didn't get your question answered with Scottie here today, we'll have those questions. We'll hopefully answer them on Monday. We'll have somebody else here. Scottie will not be here on Monday, but we'll have somebody else here to talk about the world building and other things, all things Shroud of the Avatar.
And as always, I want to reiterate that the kindness and the generosity that you all have brought to this already is exactly the kind of thing that people like myself and other world builders, those who are working on this so diligently, the people who work on the code, the people who create as much art as we can for you, we do all of this to earn both that respect and that kindness and that generosity from you guys. So again, as always, we thank you thoroughly for that. And it's with that we are driven forward with the kind of passion that I at least like to apply to areas like this. So I'm so glad that you all have had a chance to kind of wander with me through this place today. I hope you enjoyed the narrative. And if you want to know more about it, please go online, visit our forums. I'm always open to questions if you have any there too.
And you're Scottie in the forums.
I'm Scottie on the forums. So come check it out and learn more about the history of this place. And if you have any further questions, we'll be glad to answer them. You guys take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, guys. Have a good weekend. Have fun in Shroud of the Avatar. I'm going to be in, so if you see me, tag me, friend me, wave at me, and we'll adventure together and walk somewhere in a new place. Tell me what you guys are seeing, what you love about the game.
Good
Cheers.
times.